Good afternoon, everyone. This is Jared Rand, and welcome to the Global Guided Meditation Call for Tuesday, April 30, 2024. The month went by like a couple of days. We're having a time for change call tomorrow night at around 9 or so p.m. Eastern. Do you really want to know what's going on this planet right now? We'll cut to the chase. Explain it. Once we, every one of us, understand and embrace 100%, realize that the unlimited, all-powerful, omniscient self is who each of us are. Period. Now, it's an endless journey where we not only realize that we are beyond beyond this physical form all day long, yet we have a direct experience of it with everything and everyone. We feel and sense a reverence for the spiritual being we truly are that is not separate from this world around us. It is the most profound awakening process one can have, which expands within you every moment of the day and becomes an integrated aspect of everyday life. There really isn't any deeper transformation in consciousness that any human can have than becoming self-realized. The change in perspective is so completely radical and utterly life-morphing that nothing else can compare. Take the most profound experience of your life to date and then stretch it so it continuously grows and expands 24 hours a day. This is a taste of what self-realization is like. Your entire experience of reality is so different. It is as if you had been an Eskimo living for 70 years in the Arctic Circle, and then one day you decided to pack your bags and permanently move to Hawaii. That's the stark difference. The reason why, and people, one might say, well, you know, what's so important about that? It doesn't seem important. The reason why it is so important to understand how ridiculously different the experience of self-realization is because it helps the mind drop any possible attempts to formulate a hardened concept about it. What it actually is cannot be grasped by the mind. The more the mind tries to think that it knows what self-realization is, the further you will drift away from the experience of it. There is no mental concept in this universe, absolutely, that can prepare you for self-realization, other than a perpetual willingness to surrender into the mystery and curiosity of it. Now, obviously, we would all like a formula for a way to live life that is more enlightened and liberating. Well, the challenge to this is that every formula that works once is not going to work forever. All formulas last for a limited period of time, and then we outgrow them. Such as, let's say that you have a formula. You take this formula, okay? Now, it has effects with you, and you notice these effects. But if you keep taking this formula, and I'm talking about, let's say, medications, or let's say, pain depressants and everything, all that kind of stuff. And after a while, it loses its grip, and it doesn't work anywhere near as well as it used to. So see, that's with just about everything. All formulas last for a limited period of time. then we outgrow them. This is because the nature of our consciousness is meant to expand, because more flexible. It becomes more flexible and diversified. And it's only through, and many have tried so many different ways, and it always brings them back to absolute surrender to this infinite universe. You see, it is only through absolute surrender to this infinite universe can self-realization be invoked and gifted to us all. This level of surrender means you're inviting in the feeling that anything is possible. Anything. Which means you must choose to let go of just about everything you've known to be true. How many times in this lifetime have you heard or you've said yourself, that's not possible? That's just not possible. Because of this, and this. Okay? Well, when you understand that all science on this planet is wrong, it's half-assed backwards. All physics is wrong, it's half-assed backwards. So doesn't that make sense that everything that we believed and that we were trained or educated or programmed or chose that road is wrong? So we're following things that don't work correctly. Now, when you really, truly, 100%, that you feel that anything is possible, which means you must let go of just about everything you've known to be true. It's not easy to let go of our beliefs. We all know that. Yet it is the only way we will ever find the experience of being truly free. To begin this seemingly impossible spiritual quest for freedom, all begins with inquiring into the source and center of who and what you actually are. Know what you are? When you relax, meditate, which we do on this call, dive into the center of you, which we do on this call. There you will first find the mind and its stories about you. The infinite experience of you is behind these thoughts. It comes from diving into the center of your presence, your essence. And there you can go into it for infinity. There's always another experience within the center of each experience. Eventually, this is how we become centered within our spiritual essence. In this life, it is always the most random, expansive feelings which redirect our attention away from who we think we are and towards rediscovering our unlimited creative source of consciousness. If one would notice, whenever they talk about themselves, they usually refer to the words me, my, I. And when we feel into the experience of me, my, or I, what is it that we notice and perceive as there? You may choose to look for a long period of time. And I'm telling you, patience is crucial here. You must be infinitely patient with this inquiry because it is the first step towards uncovering the real you. It's vastly deep and transforming. Now, the longer you can maintain a focus of inquiring who or what I am, the faster you will realize the shocking truth of who and what you actually are. So it isn't, how many of us know what we are, who we are? Really, truly. I mean, you could read books upon books and listen to audios and videos and gurus on the mountains and caves and everything your whole life. But only you are going to discover once and for all who and what you are in that body. What's such a big deal about that? Why do we even need to spend time with that? We come into life, we're born, which we really aren't. We're born, we live, we die. We do the best we can in life. Pretty much that's the consensus of the civilization of the planet. That's the way life is, which is not true. But if you firmly support that, then that's the way life will be. And see, with all these side roads, if you will. You ever, you've been driving along and you just say, what the heck, let's take this turn off here. I don't know where it goes. I have no idea. But it'll be fun. It'll be a little adventure. So you go and you take that road and you drive and drive, and it turns from pavement to dirt. And you keep driving. You're looking around and you don't see anything. You don't see any town or people or houses, right? You just keep driving on this dirt road. And then you come up to a area where the road is kind of washed out. There's no way to get across. What would most people do? Well, they'd turn around and go back. Few people, though, would say, I wonder what's on the other side of that road. I'm going to figure out how I can get over there and check it out. Now, only a few people would do that. Most of us would not do that. See, that's where the childlike curiosity comes in. We're in a combination. You, the God, the pure consciousness. You're like you're in this container, and you start. You, the God that you are, starts experiencing these like anomalies. Like, what the heck is this? What's this mind, this ego thing? Because it isn't there at first. It starts developing. And what is this all about? So we come into these bodies, and then the bodies inherit the programming and conditioning of that which is around us. Isn't that wild? Now, because we don't know who and what we are, for the majority, basically the majority of us don't know who and what we are, we go through these lives and we leave the body. And then we do it again and again and again and again for thousands and millions and billions and trillions of years in some cases. Now, when you do discover that you know darn well that you're not that body, not the personality, not the name, not any of that stuff, that's the body's inheritance. That's what it is programmed with. And it's programmed through the human psyche, which is what? The society. That's the human psyche. It dictates, it tells this, it says this is wrong, this is right, this is correct, this is false. Doesn't it? It's laid out that way. Who created that? Well, we did. We created the society. Whether it's good, bad, or indifferent. It's kind of like what would you say? Well, it's a disjointed reference, a piece of reference material. And we follow it in most cases. Well, this isn't the appropriate way. These are not the right words. You should say this, this, it is. This is this, this is that, this is that. That's what society is. You're to wear these kinds of clothes and act this way and do this and do that. And pretty much it dictates to the civilization, of which the combination throughout the ages we have created. And feeling, see, when you it's like it's two separate things, but it isn't. That's the huge illusion. And that's why all of us have been taught so many times, through so many lifetimes, that what? What have we been taught? That we're insignificant, that we're poor creatures, right? That we're not powerful at all. That we have to be guided and governed and told and manipulated and directed on a continual basis. Isn't that pretty much it in a nutshell? Which is all wrong. So we're here and it's, once we discover that we are all-powerful, magical, manifesting beings who never die, supremely powerful, omnipotently powerful. That's not the head, that's the heart. We know this. We're all that and more. And you start with feeling your basic core nature. It's like let's say that you say, okay, at my very core nature level, I am the God, the soul, and the God within the soul, and I never die. This body is a temporary vessel to allow me to physically interact with the material physical world and all that goes with it. I know it's temporary, but see the difference? You know what you are. And you know what that body's purpose is. See, that's the difference. And on top of it, you know not to become attached to anything. Period. You don't become attached. Because that's the ego mind, and that's pain and suffering. And it isn't, well, you might debate it with yourself or others, but when it's all said and done, it goes right back to the understanding that you're the God in the body, and the body's temporary, and you experience the material physical world, and then you leave it. That's it. And there's nothing, it's like, well, I have this, and I'm going to take it with me when I leave the body. But you won't be able to, because it's physical matter. You're not. See, you can't, let's put it this way. You have a pen on the table, right? Okay, so you leave the body, you remember that pen was on the table. So you see the pen, and you go, I'm going to pick that pen up, and I need to write something. You will not be able to pick the pen up. You will your hand will pass right through the pen, right through the table. You're in a different existence. You're in cosmic energy flow. You are not of the physical material world anymore. And anything in the physical material world, you're not going to be able to touch it, feel it, and pick it up and use it. So it's like we accumulate or do things in the material physical world while we're in the physical body. And then we enjoy what we can. We stay in the now, moment to moment. And every time that things pull us out of the now, we go back into the now, moment to moment. You might find yourself doing that 100 or 1,000 times a day. But eventually, you will learn literally who and what you are. You're the God and the pure consciousness within that body, and the body is just a vessel that enables you to interact. The hands and the touch and the feel and all of that is very exciting, because we don't have that when we're in our true form. And this is why we always talk about you go within and you touch the God that you are. Because most of the people on this planet haven't a clue that they're the God. That's blasphemy. That's horrible. Why would you say that? And it's just because of their conditioning. That's all. That it doesn't matter. You see, they're a God within their body, but they don't know that. And they're very adamant about protecting their ego mind. See, when the mind was, there are people where the mind is all coiled up in an old habit of making up fantastic stories about who and what they are and are not. And when this mind drops, they drop into their core basic nature. Mindless, still, free from all thought. Now the mind, it's a stubborn little bugger. It will try to say that you are not enough of this and you're too much of that. Don't listen to the mind. Listen to your heart instead. I've said that numerous times. And you do begin to realize where you're coming from with yourself. You'll start to know that, wait a minute, I'm going through the mind here. Felt like the heart mind, but it's the head, it's the ego mind. And I caught it. Discovering your soul is found within this space-time continuum. Where would the soul reside if it was simply resting and relaxing at the center of you? Where specifically and exactly is the core of you? When you look within yourself, where in space and time is the very center of this thing called you? When you find it, rest for many hours in that space, you'll discover that you are pure, powerful, perfect, sweet, complete consciousness. You are the source of divine perfection. That's huge. That's so powerful for us as a civilization to understand that. And all this stuff that's whipped up in an illusionary fashion throughout our lifetimes is gone. All dishonesty is gone. All stress, worry, fear, anger, greed, manipulation is gone. It vanishes. Wouldn't that be motivational enough for any of us to step into the core of our existence? The more we can relax into our center, the easier it becomes to realize that there never was anything wrong with any of us. All of that is just a big fancy show of the mind, fabricating new stories again and again and again. See, once you realize that you are beyond the mind, you always have been, you always will be, ever beyond it forever. You're beyond the mind. It is the ever-present, eternal witness at the core essence of you, and is always there, always available, and ready to be explored. This is the inner journey everyone is seeking. Do they really, are they really centered on self-realization of that? No. But they are seeking it. It's the one that can take lifetime to discover. And until we find it, we will not know deep, everlasting peace. But it's already structured for us to find it. we will find our soul. This spiritual stream of sacredness follows us wherever we go. It's never not there. It is always there. When we can relax deep into the core of our being, the eyes of the soul begin seeing through us. We can perceive the universal spiritual path within the mundane and understand how it's truly impossible to screw up this life. When we relax, we begin to truly trust life. We can feel like we have an infinite amount of time, energy, resources, creativity, and knowledge to get it right. Only in a very deep relaxation can we surrender enough to bathe in our soul's true eternal essence. The ego and mind then are set on the back burner. There's no second guessing about if we have arrived in the parking lot of our soul or not. It's so obvious, it's like the difference between knowing the sun is shining or not. There's only this pure feeling of knowing and getting that we are all unlimited, unbounded, perfect beings, connected in each moment to an infinite stream of conscious, intelligent energy. The soul makes us wake up and realize that we can do the impossible. Its energy is so powerful, eternal, and cannot be changed. The more we relax into this understanding, the more we stop fighting with our mind and its list of unfulfilled desires. We simply give up following our thoughts blindly around and begin relaxing beneath them into the quiet solitude underneath the mind, which makes everything in this life more interesting and less challenging than it needs to be. How many of us would you believe, 100% of the time, without any interruptions, trust the universe, this universe, no matter what? This universe, it's always protecting every one of us, helping us and serving our highest good. It has never abandoned us and is always here assisting us to blaze through the challenges, find our greatest possible joy in this life. Now, when you trust in this process, I mean, not, there's a lot of people I've talked with, I trust 100%. It's all surface and it's ego mind. But when you do truly trust in it 100%, everything changes in your life perception and reality. This universe is conspiring in your favor. It wants what you want. Just notice what it feels like in a quiet time of this meditation. Notice what it actually feels like to sit back, relax into the feeling of trusting in this universe and knowing it is guiding you. When we practice the Trust Five, we can listen easily to the subtle hints from this universe. We know our life's purpose and spiritual direction, and we stop ignoring it. The trusting signs are there. Just look for them. Take heed. stop getting in the way of your highest possibility. And none of us are exempt from that. We do that. It is in trusting this universe that we can give ourselves permission to manifest the most amazing, miraculous life we could ever, ever, ever imagine. We actually get what we truly want through trusting. Now, what you got to do is watch around you. Maybe yourself, others, the whole process on the planet. Where's the trust? Why do you think so many people's lives are not anything what they want them to be? See, what happens is that knowing this, really, truly, through the heart, we actually get what we truly want through trusting. We don't get it anywhere else, any way else. We stop settling for a fear-based, this is exactly what's happening on this planet. We stop settling. See, right now, it's a fear-based, rushed lifestyle that we don't really desire. And during the quiet time of this meditation, I invite you to take the time to settle yourself into the energy of trust. You breathe it into your body, feel it inside your heart. Practice this as much as you can. Notice how good it feels. See if you can notice how many ways this universe is guiding, assisting, protecting you in the next 48 hours. It is an amazing feeling when you can remain in the state of trust all week long, as it is this energy which opens the door to let your soul's full presence come flying through. What are the old dark demons inside of us about? Well, they're created by the ego mind. See, and if we don't face our fears every day, then they are not fully serving us. We are meant to work with fear, push up against it, so that we expand our sense of self and grow beyond it. We release our attachments to what the fear means and realize each one is merely a ridiculous, misguided thought. So it's a decision and a choice we make to give ourselves fully over to being a fearless human being by facing every fear that arises. Now, we all know that many of us do not do that. We kind of dodge it and shove it in the broom closet. But it just keeps coming back. So when we face every fear that arises, we get to know our true warrior selves as an all-loving, all-powerful, fearless, multi-dimensional spiritual being with unlimited potentiality. Who knew the darkness would lead us to the light? And that's what's happening on this planet in actuality. The darkness is leading us to the light. And with just a little exploration, and our daily journey home becomes a very sacred healing process. L. Ron Hubbard, who many of you know, he made a quote, and I listened to Ron a long time ago, years and years ago. And all Ron wanted is he wanted to discover the engrams in the brain. He wanted to understand the brain, how the brain worked. And what did they do? They started a religion, Scientology. But one of his quotes, only you can say where the road goes. Only you can say where the road goes. Everyone sets his or her goals for the hour, for the relationship, and for every phase of this life. See, some of us know this. Some of us maybe kinda, and others totally don't. By uncovering our sparkling bright soul, and which comes from the retraining of our brains to be alert and remain focused only on that which we truly desire. Like, what do we want in life? What do you want in life? What do you want? Wants you to have it. And when you can keep your mind focusing on what you want and off of what you don't want, and you can say this 1 billion times and not be enough, the most amazing things will manifest in your presence. Nobody cares to hear what's on your long list of complaints. Have you ever been around where people are just constantly complaining? How do you feel? What are you feeling when that? And you try, you do what you can to be polite and you listen to it, but it's incessant. It's always a complaint. There's always something wrong. There's always something not right, either with themselves or everything around them. It's always a complaint, always a complaint, always a complaint. How do you feel about that? So what we do is we put our kingdom of don't wants up for sale. We're ready to sell it, lock, stock, and barrel. And we recalibrate our minds to meditate on what we do desire. What are those things that make your heart sing? Why aren't we focused on that? Why have we learned to step out of our own way? To step away from the ego mind, leave it alone. Leave the mind alone. Watch it. See how it operates. You aren't judging it, you're just watching. It's very interesting to watch your ego mind operate. The simple refocusing of the mind on what you want in this life is omnipotently, incredibly powerful and transformative. Once the mind comes around to the conclusion that as long as it's focusing on what it doesn't want, it's never going to be happy. Then it starts to rely more on pure awareness to liberate it. And you got to understand that the mind is already deeply trained and programmed to rewind and replay the same 60,000 thoughts it had yesterday. And it doesn't like to deviate from the norm. Yet when you redirect it to remain focused on what you want to think about all day long, your soul peeks through and opens everything up, like a flower meeting the first morning rays of sunshine. You come to feel the amazing warmth that is inside your being. This is the day you truly know your soul intimately, and it will show everyone in the most natural, unassuming ways the all-powerful, deeply eternal, loving being you already are. quote from Osho, don't waste your life for that which is going to be taken away. Does that make any sense? Trust life. Trust God. You're God. Trust you, what you really are. When you trust, only then can you drop your knowledge. Only then can you put your mind aside. And with trust, something immense opens up. Then this life is no longer an ordinary life. It becomes full of God overflowing. Full of you, the God in that body, overflowing. Join you in the meditation. I'll return to close us out. Take an easy and slow breath in through the nose. Easy and slow breath out from the mouth. Still. All is well in this world. Yep. Last time I checked, all was well in the whole world. Yet, you could breathe just a bit deeper in your belly. I think you'd be able to feel it too. Let's stop identifying with all these worrisome thoughts. Who you are is beyond thought. Pay attention to that. Focus on what is real. Remember that you are guided by divine forces beyond your rational human understanding of existence. And yes, everything is guided in every moment, even when your mind is freaking out and you're so worried about the future. Something underneath the surface is still guiding you every breath of the way. Just keep breathing. Just keep breathing. Just keep breathing. Take this with you for the rest of the day into the evening and night and following morning. We will return here Wednesday, May 1, 2024. Until after 3:15 p.m. Eastern to continue our global guided meditation call, and around 9 or so p.m. Eastern to continue our Time for Change call. Be gentle, kind, generous, and humble with yourself at all times. Be in the highest of the highest high, deepest of the deepest deepest, and purest of the purest purest. Eternal gratitude at all times. And smile.